that part too, about like support and what support looks like, and because I feel like there's a real big disconnect in communication with that. When you finally do open up to somebody, they just be like, they say some stuff sometimes, be like, I just wish I ain't said nothing at all. I should have kept that to myself.
And honestly, when we talk about, finding an outlet, and I say I'm in therapy, every other week, that's not necessarily me joking. That's me being honest.
No, that's
And
being.
it's not that I don't have anybody to talk to. I've had the same set of best friends for, at this point, 27, 23, 19, 15 years,
Right.
respectively. However, I would rather talk to my therapist,
Mm-hmm.
because my therapist is unbiased, and I can just talk to her and I can help her filter. Like, and sometimes I feel like certain people who are in your circle, who know you're strong and know you can handle certain things, assume that because you can, you always want to, or you always can.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Not
So
always the case.
So we live now. We're gonna give people some time to come in because we was truly on CPT today.
That, and then we also have to take into consideration that there is also, was there a presidential or some sort of debate? Is there a debate going on tonight?
Not today. I
Okay,
think
cool.
the next one comes next Wednesday. And
Okay.
I honestly, I'm glad for it because I sure in hell need some extra time to recoup after that shit show yesterday. I don't
I
know.
didn't watch it because I knew when I watched the recap, and when I say recap, I mean they played the presidential election twice last year. And I watched the recap, the second round of it playing.
Mhm.
And that was the most ignorant, most childish, most immature, most off topic, most just just worst just sign of misogynistic I've ever seen in my life, ever. And that was last year. Well, not last year. I'm sorry. See, this is how
Last, last,
time.
mhm.
The last term.
I get it. I know where you was going with that.
That was last term. I was completely and utterly disgusted. So, based on that, by virtue of my disgust last year alone, I said, I'm not watching this trash this year because
Oh,
my anxiety is too high. My weed is too expensive. I
yeah.
don't have the time.
You thought that was bad? If you had to watch whatever happened last night,
My weed is too
child,
expensive.
child. Mm.
I wasn't finna play with my floating time,
I
okay?
can't get I can't get that 90 minutes of my life back. I just can't. But you know. Welcome y'all. Come on in to We Gonna Talk. And we have a serious talk today. Today it's just me and my sis. Was hoping to have more people come on and kind of share this platform with us because I feel like there's strength in numbers, especially when you kind of wondering like, am I the only person that's going through this stuff? So this topic in particular is something I'm very passionate about because I'm the girl that wears the brave face. I'm the one that nobody ever knows when she's in the trenches, and when they find out that she is, it's like after the fact when I'm actually crawling out of it. But I think that that is just a heavy burden to bear, and there's so many of us I know that's doing the same thing. So I wanted to talk about that, especially in these times, because there's a lot going on for all of us, especially for us Black women, and we wear masks all the time, especially if you're wearing masks for somebody else. And when I say somebody else, i.e. children, i.e. your mates, your parents, friends, whatever it is, whomever it is that you're like super close to, that you feel emotionally responsible for. I know sometimes I feel very emotionally responsible. I have a job where I'm dealing with victims of trauma. So I absolutely have to have the brave face. No matter what my day is, I have to remind myself, like, this person was just assaulted, or this child does not need to know whatever my issues are. So
Yeah.
I just felt like we needed to talk about that. Like, we really needed to have a genuine conversation about these masks that we wear as people, as women, because this isn't just a woman thing. Like, there are plenty of men running around here wearing masks too. So I want to talk about that. I want to get that out. And I really did want to have a lot of people interested in talking about this and adding to this platform. But I get it, because when you start talking about wearing a mask, that means that you have to acknowledge and put it out there to everybody else that that's what you're doing. And not everybody is comfortable with that. So I get it. I get it. But the talk must go on, because I'm hoping and having this conversation that will liberate somebody, will help somebody, and make somebody feel comfortable to be like, look, I ain't okay. I'm not okay. I'm not good. I'm not good. And sometimes I'm just not good. And it don't necessarily have to mean one thing or the other. I'm affected by many different things in my environment. So it doesn't necessarily mean that my marriage is falling apart, or this is falling apart, or that is falling apart. Although sometimes it can be that, but it does not mean that that's necessarily what it is. But we wear different masks as well. So welcome, come on in to the room. I see more people joining us. I see Annette. Hey, Annette, and Marquita, and Yo Yo. I see you, girl. I see my TT Betty on. So I'm so glad y'all can join us. We was a little late today. My computer was running on CPT time today. It was not trying to do what it needed to do. So what's your stance on wearing the mask, sis? Where you at with it?
Um, at some point, I personally just got tired of wearing it. Um, and not necessarily because that's what I was choosing to do, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what I feel like the mask that I was wearing was a mask that other people put on me. I would be telling the world I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
The only time you would not know I'm okay is if I didn't tell you. But there would be in so many and so uncertain uncertain terms on or off social media where people would know I'm not okay. But the assumption on their part was she beat cancer, she'll be okay.
That you're a superhero, so whatever it is can't be worse than that. So you definitely gonna be fine, even though that's not the case. Sometimes you get tired.
Meanwhile, I've had whole anxiety attacks in my apartment. I've stayed off social media because I've been in depression to muteness. Um, Imposter syndrome kind of kicked in, and I just was, in my head about that, and just it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of real life shit that goes on in my life every day that I'll sometimes talk about. But my talking about it does not necessarily mean that I'm okay.
Mm.
Other people though will think again, well, she beat cancer. What the fuck that got to do with anything? Because let me be clear about that. I wasn't okay then. Y'all just couldn't see it because I was in survival mode. The problem with it is y'all also didn't see me crying every goddamn night behind closed doors when I was asleep.
If that ain't the truth, my favorite mask is my smile. That's my favorite mask.
Mine
I,
is my sense of humor because I like to make
yeah,
people laugh, and it's a good deflection. It's an easy deflection because I
easy.
like it's shit's funny, and I'm funny.
Girl, I be out here smiling. Hi, how you doing? What's going on? And people be like, just a quick story. Just recently I had gone to the doctor's office to just, get a checkup, check on some things. And they were checking my blood pressure. So they were like, okay, Mrs. Harden Tate, your blood pressure is high, and this is not like you. We're gonna run it a couple more times. So they literally tested my blood pressure a good 4 more times before I left this visit, before they were like, okay, yeah, so your blood pressure is just high. What's going on? And the nurse was like, I just don't understand. Like, I mean, you just look so happy. Your labs are all good. You don't have high blood cholesterol. You're not having a whole bunch of sodium, so it's not that. I mean, your labs look great. So I can't understand. Like, why would it be high like that? And I was like, stress. Yeah, stress. She's like, stressed? You don't look stressed. Oh my God, you came in. You're so polite.
Yeah,
You just
I hate when people
right.
say things like that, like you don't look stressed. And I want to ask the audience a question. What does stress look like, baby?
What? Just like when people be like
What does it look
depressed,
like?
you don't look depressed. Like,
What
does
does
depression
depression
look
look like?
like?
Matter of fact, let me answer the question for y'all. Looks
Stress
like
looks like this.
where my see, I done turned my goddamn camera off, trying to show y'all. Sorry. Depression look like this, y'all. Stress looks like this. The only reason y'all don't see these bags under my eyes right now is because I actually have gotten more than 4 hours of sleep in the last 2 days. And I got a really good motherfucking skin regimen. Otherwise,
And
this is what
I got on concealer. Just gonna keep it real.
and I don't know how to put that shit on. But the point is, listen, y'all want to know if yes, it was a rhetorical question. Like, what does anxiety look like? What is depression? Oh, you don't look depressed. Yes, I do.
Right.
Because this is what it looks like, baby.
This is
Since
what
I
it
was
looks
15 years old and I'm 37, do the motherfucking math. This is what it looks like.
This is what it looks like. And you can't just look at a person and tell what they're going through, and just to assume that because they seem happy, because they seem so strong, because this, because that they're not going through it. But everybody just don't put their business on Front Street, and I get it. One of the
To be
things
fair,
that
no, actually, to be fair, I put a lot of my business on Front Street.
I kind of do too. I'm like, I like to be transparent.
Actually, no, I'm gonna be
feel like
all tea,
transparency
all
is
shade, because I
important.
know some of your business off camera.
That's true.
No, she don't. I'm gonna tell y'all in real life, she don't put. If we gonna compare what business of mine we put out compared to her, she don't put none of her motherfucking business out there.
That's not one. See, I do, but I don't
No,
go.
we talking about in comparison to me.
Okay, in comparison to you, but I'm very transparent. Like, if someone asks me a question, I'm gonna be honest with you, because I don't believe in lying about that. Like, that serves no purpose. But as far as just constantly like posting publicly whatever things I may be going through with, I'm also one of them people that I need to figure it out, and I need to kind of start to focus my energy on fixing or figuring out how to get out of whatever space that I'm in. So I may don't post that. And then one of the things that you and I was talking about before we got the live up and going is that everybody don't understand what support means.
No, they don't. Oh my God.
And they don't get that support looks different for everybody. When it comes to support, it's a very personally tailored thing. What is support for me may not be support for Kawana. What may be support for Kawana may not be support for me. So you can't go at support the same way, assuming that the same rule applies to everybody.
Right. Like, if there's no one size fits support.
No one size fits all support. So a lot of people, unless you understand and you're used to working with people who are trauma induced, etc., then you approach support in the way you think you want the support, and that may not be my support. I've hated that. I've hated that in the past, and I've learned to just not freaking ask for support, because I don't want to hurt your feelings if you feel like you trying to give me support. And if I tell you that ain't no damn support, then you're gonna be feeling some sort of way, because it's gonna be like, I was trying to help her and then she act like this. So it's not that I don't, care, or I don't appreciate that you're trying to provide that support for me, but this isn't support. That isn't support for me. And so I'd rather just not ask until I could figure this shit out on my own. And then, once I'm feeling better, then I'll let you know, like, yeah, I was going through this. I do have my telltale signs of when I am going through it. One of the things about me is I'm real quiet. When
Me
I'm
too.
going through it and I'm having a lot going on in my world, I'm very mute. I'm quiet. I'm not posting on social media as much. I'm not calling and talking to people as much. And it's not because, I got an attitude or, none of that. I just need to, I found that being still and being quiet and, doing my meditation, doing my prayer, doing whatever it is that I need to do helps me get through whatever it is. And talking to people all the time doesn't help me until I need to vent. So there's a difference between venting and asking for help. Sometimes I just need to vent, but sometimes I may need help and I need to figure out what that help looks like, or if somebody else needs to help me, or if I need to help myself. And I need to figure that out before I start approaching it from that. So I get real quiet. When I'm going through it, I get real quiet. I'm not as active on anything. I'm literally to myself because I just got to figure it out. But I'm not okay. And I think people just be like, oh, she busy, because yes, I'm always busy. I mean, this is probably the less busy I've been since the whole COVID stuff happened. But even still, I'm still super busy. But that's just my process. That's my way. That's how I deal with it. And I just think that often gets misconstrued, like she's so strong and she's just so this, she's so that. Y'all don't have no idea how many times I've cried in a shower because my kids was there and I didn't want them to hear it. How many times that I've just wanted them to have a nap so I can cry. How many times I've gone into my car and cried. How many times I've driven around the corner to my parents' house and cried. It's just because I'm not crying in front of you doesn't mean that I'm okay. But I do take some responsibility in that because I do feel like sometimes we've gotten so like trained as Black women, especially, not to say that we're okay. You're not okay. You're not supposed to say you're not okay. You're supposed to be okay because you built for this. You built for all of this shit. And that's not the truth. I see you over there, sis, quiet. What you thinking about?
I mean, because first of all, I'm triggered. Because there, you want to talk about crying in the shower because you don't want your kids to see you. How about crying next to your partner while he's asleep because you don't want him to see you?
Been there.
And I don't know if he watching. He might be. He usually watches every week. He might not be. If he doesn't, if he isn't watching right now, he usually goes and back and watches on his way to school. But yeah, there have been plenty of nights or plenty of mornings. Shit happens. Plenty of nights and plenty of mornings where I have cried myself to sleep and he wouldn't know a thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was like, yeah, I really just got some really fantastic dick, but
I'm not okay.
I'm not okay. And it ain't had nothing to do with him. It was just other real life shit going on with me that I had not disclosed to him either at that point or at all. And I didn't do it because I didn't want to hear, oh, you'll be all right, because he's very we mesh well together, which is very ironic because he's very logical, I'm very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
He don't have, well, what emotion he has is kind of tucked away as he leads by logic. What
Right.
logic I do have, it's predominated by my emotion.
Mm-hmm.
So it works.
Right.
But there are moments that I need a support that he wouldn't be able to give. And I wasn't going to beg it out of him. So I would just cry instead, quietly.
That quiet cry, boy. That quiet, that
Because
silent.
I knew if I snipped loud or he heard it, I mean, I got to talk to you. I don't feel like talking to you right now. I really don't. I just got a lot of shit going on. I really don't want to talk right now. I probably would rather you just hold me and catch the clue, and some of them don't. But it's just really moments where people don't know. I'll be having to just cry, like just sit and lift my head to the ceiling and cry, or just sit in the room and play some music, and it ain't even on no brown liquor blues. It's just because I'm really going through some stuff emotionally, or I'm processing some old trauma, or processing some new trauma, just processing shit, period.
Right.
Just trying to get my schedule and my life together. That shit is really, really stressful right now.
If that ain't the goddamn truth, because I
Um,
have, all you parents out there, I get you, because I ain't been all right since we been homeschooled.
And
because
I
I'm still
teach
working full time too.
right.
It's like,
And I'm still teaching
child.
now, and I'm still
Mm-hmm.
teaching 27 students
Mm-hmm.
and student supervising 5, and it's all over Zoom. In addition to working on my dissertation, I'm trying to defend my proposal in December. I still need to find an internship site. I'm trying to jumpstart a whole Reiki practice,
Mm-hmm.
a whole Reiki practice.
Yeah.
In addition to trying to not die from fucking COVID-19 and Carol fucking Baskin and everything associated with the both
Girl,
of them.
yes, Carol Baskin. She did that shit. But yes,
But it's like y'all wouldn't even understand. I just gave y'all a quarter of the stuff that I'm dealing with right now. And that's the good stuff. I'm not complaining about any of it. This is just stuff that I'm having to balance. But just because y'all see me joking about it on Facebook don't mean that this load ain't heavy, bro. I'm talking about I go to bed every night just trying not to go through a whole bottle of wine to calm my nerves, because my brain be like,
and let's not skip over that, because I think that that's a real important thing to talk about sometimes when we not okay, how we look for it, like we cling to vices more.
Baby,
and
I ain't never cleared a motherfucking bottle of wine so goddamn quick. I can usually get through like a quarter. You might get me to get through half on a real stressful night. I will clear a whole bottle tonight.
Girl, sometimes it's been days that, and then opened up another one, and then go in there and be like, somebody done drink all this damn wine. When I've posted that on Facebook, that's been legitly real.
Oh, how many times I done woke up and reached for the bottom, honey, and did this? What the fuck?
Look, I've gotten there. Look, like, wait a minute. Did I do that?
Right, and then it's like, oh, I did. Oh,
like, you know what? And the messed up part is I wouldn't feel it. Like, that's how you know when you clinging on to a vice too much, is you'll do some stuff and you'll be like, this has zero effect, which means that I'm indulging in it a bit too much. Like, it legit happens when you're not okay. It happens. It happens, which, I've had a couple times where I'm like, I get how people get messed up on stuff, because it gets too heavy. Sometimes everything that you got going on, it just gets too heavy. I've had 2 major experiences in my life. So I've had many of hills where I've had to climb over mountains and all of that. But I've had 2 periods of my life in particular where I've just been like, I don't know how much longer I could take. And I was literally going around telling the people closest to me, like, yeah, I'm like hanging on by this much. Like, I was actually saying, look, I'm not okay. And I think what it was that the people closest to me wanted to fix it, but didn't quite know how to fix it, even though I don't even think that they could fix it. They just didn't have the means to fix it. But I just wasn't like, okay. And my most recent time was actually, they both were primarily centered around my motherhood and just trying to have that balance of motherhood. So I shared just a bit of the first story online about having postpartum depression. And with that situation, I just started my master's program. So literally had just started it. And hiring was supposed to come after my first quarter. So I was supposed to have a little 4-month break in between quarters to kind of, adjust and have a week or 2 before I'm doing my classes again online. And this little boy decided to show up right as the quarter started. He showed up early. So I was like, okay, well, I'm finna have a newborn, just getting into the master's program. I ain't had enough time to really get adjusted, but, I'm gonna go for it anyway. So, I get him in my master's program. I'm trying to, deal with the fact that I have a new baby plus a 4-year-old. And this baby had colic, okay? So this means that this poor baby cried.
It's crying all night.
From 8:36 p.m. So the weird part is he always started crying around the time that he was born. And
Mm.
I didn't notice that. So when Kyron was born, he was born early, so his lungs weren't quite all the way ready. So they had to, of course, take him off to the NICU for a few hours for observation and make sure that he was okay and such. So he was born at 8:36. And then by the time they brought him to me so that I could nurse him and comfort him and all of that stuff, and me and Robert laugh about that story all the time because this baby was hollering and all we hear is this hollering and we like, dang, that baby that was just born. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then my room door flings open and it's her pushing this baby in. She's like, mom, he just won't stop and we just can't figure out why he won't stop crying. So I nursed him. He went to sleep. I couldn't put him down the whole time in the hospital. If I put him down in the bassinet or somebody wasn't holding him, he would scream to the top of his lungs. When we got home for the first week or two, he was okay. He was a normal, newborn baby. But around week 3, week 4, every night at 8:30, this baby would start crying nonstop until 3 o'clock in the morning. And when I tell you screaming to the top of your lungs, I was still living at my parents' house at this time. And both my mom and father will come in here and be like, I mean, is there nothing we can do? It's like he just won't stop. I mean, we taking turns walking him around the house. He didn't want to nurse, he didn't want to nut. He just screaming. I can't get him to stop. This went on for 6 months straight. So of course I failed all my classes. I'm crying now. I still have a 4-year-old I have to tend to. Robert is working way in Indiana, so he's not able to be there all the time because he's working far, far out. It's just me because my parents still work, so it's just me. And there were times where I was like, I really feel like I'm losing my mind. I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna lose it, and I don't want to lose it. I love my kids. I'm afraid of myself. I'm afraid of what I'm gonna do. And I just remember being at one of my post, uh, partum visits, and they were like, how are you doing, Miss Harden? Are you okay? How's everything going? And I'm just like, yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. And the doctor's like, no, Miss Harden, are you okay? Yeah, yes, I'm fine. Everything's great. And well, how's the baby doing? He's doing great. We're all great. Now, I cried all the way to the doctor's office. So he probably saw my eyes red and puffy, and he's like, Miss Harden, you okay? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Cried all the way home. Cried all the way that night. Cried nonstop. I would show up late to everywhere, and people would make jokes. Sante ain't never on time. Sante gonna always show up late. But you don't know that it took me an hour to be able to get in the shower. And I'm in the shower for 5 minutes with a baby in the bouncer, can see me, but he's screaming. And I'm just like, just hold on. And now he's choking. So I got to get out the tub, and take care of him. And y'all got jokes about me being late. So yes, I'm late, but you don't know what it took for me to get here. And I would just smile at them jokes. I would smile and brush it off, but it hurt because it was like, y'all don't get it. Y'all have no idea how sad I am, how depressed I am. My kids are the light of my life, but in those moments, it was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna make it. I'm, trying to explain it to people who's not very understanding about what postpartum looks like, especially in the Black community. We truly don't talk about it enough like we should. You have people that just assume that, I'm just late. Well, really, I'm hanging on, and y'all don't know how hard it was for me to come outside and come here. So I tell that story to a lot of people because I want y'all to understand, like, sometimes even when you joke about something, you're not even sure what a person's going through. And for me, that was super like hurtful, but I wore my mask and was just like, oh. And then when I finally started telling people like, yeah, I had postpartum depression, and the people that didn't know, they were just like, what? You was thinking what? You almost did what? And what? Like, you the perfect mom. I look up to you, and I'm just like, but don't, because I was this close.
Man, listen.
This close.
So I remember when I first moved back to Chicago, I had actually attempted suicide 3 weeks prior. And I had attempted suicide 3 weeks prior with the intention of Chemo X finding me in the apartment because I knew that, nobody knew where I lived but him and my homegirl Anita, who I affectionately still to this day call roommate. Nobody knew where I lived but those two, and I just knew that one of them was gonna come by and find my body and tell my people. But I had contemplated or attempted suicide because I had a cancer and didn't know how to deal with it. I graduated from school, but I could barely find a job. And the jobs I was working 2-3 jobs at a time. I still had not processed anything that happened to me. My relationship fell the fuck apart. Somebody broke into my apartment, like literally broke into my apartment, and they didn't take anything that everything they took was shit that I couldn't replace. My jewelry, my souvenirs, everything I got from overseas when I was with the Jubilee Singers, when I was a Spain in Africa, gone. My degree from Fisk, gone.
Who the hell does
prom pit? Because what happened was I had a lot of my memorabilia in like this tiny suitcase because I moved from roommate's house to my own apartment. I didn't feel the need to unpack that suitcase. It had all of my good memorabilia in there. Why not just keep it there, right? Yeah, whoever took the whole suitcase with all of my like prom pictures, high school pictures, all of that gone.
Who does that?
I don't know. And I was like, well, how the fuck for y'all? They took my Bath and Body Works because I was working at Bath and Body Works at the time. So my closet was full of that shit. Girl, cleared me out.
I don't work there, but guilty. I
mean, couldn't wash my ass, nothing. You know what I mean? So and even when in real life, when I looked in my closet and saw my shit gone, I had to laugh like, how the fuck, why would you take this? But compounded with a whole bunch, me still dealing with that, me working 2-3 jobs and still being behind on bills, everything. And it was just a lot of shit. So I put a knife to my wrist and almost slit that shit. It was going to be good with it. Long story short, called my dad and was like, Daddy, I need to come home. He was like, I've been waiting on this phone call forever. I'll be there tomorrow. But he came to get me. I came home. It was like 2008. And within like a month, my homeboy's mom died. And then the Hudson Massacre. And when I say the Hudson Massacre, what I mean is when Jennifer Hudson people got murdered. For the few people who don't know, she and I lived across the street from each other, went to elementary school together, sang together, all that jazz. I'm still cool with most of her family to this day. And I was cool with all of the family members that got killed that day. The block was taped off from my house down to 69th and Yale. I had to watch them bring my homeboy's body out the fucking house after they identified his body an hour later. I had to tell his people that he was dead because somebody ran into her classroom and told her while she was teaching. I had to walk her down the street because she couldn't. Her knees was gonna buckle. I had to walk in the house, and those of y'all know who my little brother Kent Williams. I call him Man. Y'all call him by his legal name. I don't know that nigga. I know Man. My brother is 6'4". I ain't never seen my brother. Hollering to the. You want to see a grown man cry? This shit ain't cool. And for months after that, for months. And the killer part about it is the people who know me knew to sporadically check in on me. The people who didn't know me would just call. You're not checking up on me. You calling to be nosy. You calling to see what the fuck's happening on the block. You're not even calling to check up on me. You ain't even giving me a minute to breathe. I ain't even processed none of this shit.
Let's not skip over that because I think that that's a really important point. I know for me, when I went through my darkest times, I never really got that phone call. I got those phone calls from maybe I can count on one hand, and I use all my fingers, those people. And a lot of people that have rung my phone all hours of the night, because I'm that friend. I'm that person that You call Tay, she gonna answer. If you need Tay, she gonna answer. I could be
Yeah.
you, and you know that about me.
Mm.
Whatever the hour, as long as you don't call me when I'm busy, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I'm answering. And especially this very last storm that I was in, I really just started to, and it completely changed my circle to a degree as well too. I really started to disconnect from people, and no love lost. I still love you, but then I just realized like what I was for you. So I was not your friend. I was your friend, but you weren't not my friend. And it was just like, damn. So, and if I don't get a call because you're in distress, then nothing else matters. It was no text messages, it was no nothing. Nobody paid attention to the fact, well, damn, Sante real quiet. Like she real quiet. But because I'm not the person that's yelling from the rooftops, I'm not okay. This is happening in my life. This is faltering. This is this. People would automatically assume that, she okay. But still, like if you actually checked in on me and we were actually friends, you would kind of recognize that maybe I ain't okay. I don't know if that makes sense,
No, it does, because
but
what
it makes sense to
I
me.
had an incident with an ex of mine, and I'm not gonna call his name. I don't want to blast him like that.
Right.
I'm just gonna say we all went to high school together and leave it there. We didn't go at the same time, but we all did go to the same high school. Long story short, I've known him since I went before I got to Proviso West, and we dated for a while. And after I came back home after my little cancer shit or whatever, I caught back up with him. Now, you and I know, being clinicians, that when somebody goes through something traumatic, when they do decide to talk, that's typically all they're going to really talk about, because they may not have had the space to process it, right? That's where I was. Now, there have been several times that I have been on the phone with him prior to this, and even during this, within like a month time frame, where I would be on the phone with this dude for hours, and I mean 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and he just complaining about everything going on in his life.
And you mute and listening, right?
Baby, I'm
Go
sitting
ahead.
listening to it all, and I could read his ass down to his motherfucking toenails up to his hair follicles. Do you hear me?
I feel you.
But I'm like, nah, he needs somebody to listen to him. And I'm thinking, okay, fine, I'm cool with him, whatever. This is my. And eventually we started dating again, but even after it was, but in this particular moment, he would be telling me all his business, and I just felt obligated to sit there and listen. I'm literally crying, like, I can't believe this shit. Like, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do? Bro, you can hear how broken up how I am about this shit. You can tell I haven't talked to nobody about it. This nigga tells me in real life, y'all, listen, I love you, but you gonna have to get over this shit. Like, listen, you had cancer. I understand that. You didn't die. It didn't kill you. You gonna have to get over it and let it the fuck go. Because I'm tired of hearing about you crying about this shit every time we're on the phone. This is what this nigga told me. I see your face, Sante. Please straighten up. But y'all, I want y'all to hear what I'm telling you. This is somebody who I've known since I was 13, 14 years old. My people know his people. Understand?
And what stuff did you listen to in that conversation? It probably was female drama. It probably was money issues, insecurity issues, relationship issues. What stuff did you listen to when your phone rang from him?
All of it, and then some.
Mm-hmm.
All of it, every last word, every drop. And it was like, when I did listen to him, it was like, this is the song that doesn't end. It was those type of problems. Like, it was always, yes, the same shit. You get to complain about the same shit over and over again. And I'm not dismissing what he was going through, but bro, I had cancer. I had real life shit, and I ain't recovered from that shit. I ain't even dealt with it. Fuck recovered from it. And you can tell in how I'm talking. Is there not another way you could have dealt with me? Did you not read the room when it came to me? So some people can just be really selfish and they want you to be there for them, but they can't be there for you. Even if you are being overwhelming, even if you are being too much.
Right.
Sometimes it happens when people are traumatized. And I was really extremely traumatized. And
That was
I
a big
shouldn't even
reason
really
why
be
I didn't
upset
talk to
about it.
people.
I shouldn't even still be this upset about it, but it's like, I don't think Buddy understand. Like, bro, I stopped talking for 2 fucking years. I stopped talking to my mama. I stopped talking to my daddy, my homies, my brother. I stopped talking to everybody. I was drinking, smoking, and fucking. That's how I was dealing with my stress in real life, in real bad situations with real people. Shouldn't have been able to smell the pussy for 5 miles away, just because this nigga couldn't be there for me like I felt a friend should. But when he needed me to be there for them, I was on the phone hard.
Listening, providing care. I get it. And I just feel like that if you have that person in your life that always is there for you, you want to make sure, even if it's just every once in a while, that you check in with that person. Don't just assume because that person's a healer, that person is the go-to, that they don't go through stuff, because healers go through all types of shit. And while I love to have that healing aura, I love to be that person for people. I would never overextend myself in that way if I did not have some sort of purpose in it. But I feel like when you are that person, people just assume that you don't never need a little healing yourself.
I don't always want to be there for you. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
don't. I mean, I'm not talking to you, but
Oh,
just in
oh,
general,
you
like, I
don't,
don't
you don't
always
want
want
to
to be
be
there
there
for
for
you.
me? Just
No,
tell me the truth.
I mean, but you understand what I'm saying. Like, healers in real life feel that way. Listen, y'all, listen to what I'm saying and hear me good. We don't always want to be there for y'all. We don't. And the bottom line is,
One
as much
better.
as we would like
Sometimes we
y'all to,
can't be there for you. Sometimes we can't. Like sometimes I just literally, like, all of my healing energy is low. I just can't. I can't be that person for you.
and that beyond that, unfortunately, in this tea shade, however you want to take it, baby, wrap it in the present, eat it, smoke it, grill it, whatever you want to do, but take it how you want to take it.
Right.
Sometimes we know you don't have the capacity to give us that support that we need. That's why we don't come to you. Boom. Who did I just trigger?
You probably struck a chord with somebody. You
And
did.
it's not shade. These are just facts. It's not that we don't love you as a friend, but we know if we need a hug, we probably gonna hear about your story in the midst of ours, or we gonna hear more about your stories than we tell you our business. And we didn't
And
come to you for
sometimes
that.
that's okay if there's a give and take in that conversation, because we both, like, when we talk, we always be like, yeah, we gonna only be on this phone for 30 minutes. Okay. Like, you got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. It's only gonna be 30 minutes. Girl, we look up, it be like 3 hours of pass. And we like, this shit was supposed to be 30 minutes. Like,
All right. Sorry about that.
but in that time is give and take. You talking, I'm talking, like we're both providing that support for each other. And that's fine. I'm talking about those people that you only hear from when something's wrong.
Yeah,
And that,
I've chosen to kind of give very limited access of myself to those people right now. Because number one, if I'm not here, what you gonna do?
hmm,
And number two, I can guarantee you whatever questions you do or don't have for me, if you take your lazy ass on Google, you Google, you can find exactly what you're looking for.
no, I wouldn't recommend that. Google be having me all scared. I be thinking that is my
I mean, but the point
it
is,
be like,
baby,
wait a minute, what this
the point
what
is,
I said.
I guarantee you, it's a source out there other than me where you can get what you need.
That's true. That's factual.
Don't treat your people, don't treat your healers, don't treat your strong friends, don't treat your support system, don't treat them people who you know will always be there for you no matter what. Stop treating them like they're always gonna be there. Because what you gonna do when they get sick? Are you gonna be able to be there for them in the same capacity that they've been there for you? Because if you ain't, you probably ain't their friend, bro.
So I have to confess, though. I have to confess that there are times where I really know that I don't have it in me to, like, be that support, and I'll make myself available for somebody in their time, even though I really should be like, I can't talk right now. I can't do that right now. Like, it's just, I don't have the fortitude to deal with that right now. But sometimes I do take on more than I probably should take on more, because I really do feel that my purpose is to help people and heal people. I think that in all honesty, that's probably one of my masks too. Is that because if I'm being a support for you, then that takes me also out of the the way for me to realize I need to be a support for myself. And maybe in that day I just can't deal with any more extra shit from me, and I need to be there for somebody else because I'm gonna be able to deflect. So I will admit that that's one of my masks sometimes, where it's like, okay, let me go ahead and do put on my cape, because then if I'm being this for somebody else, I don't have to think about my own shit right now, because sometimes your own shit just get really heavy.
But that's exactly why sometimes even when people need me to be there for them, I just look at the phone like I ain't got it to do.
I ain't got it today.
I don't. And I've had to learn how to be honest with myself in doing that even within the last year, because you have no idea how many times I've been on the phone with friends and family and didn't necessarily have it's not that I didn't want to talk to them, but I wasn't in a headspace. I didn't have the energy, and I knew I knew the conversation was going to be longer than a 5-10 minute check in. I
Mm-hmm.
knew somebody business was going to get told, whether it was mine or theirs. And I just didn't have the energy for anything that was going on, and I would give it anyway, and I would be mad about it. Like, God
That
damn,
you
I
gave
didn't
the
want to talk
energy.
to your ass.
So I have a question, and I'm gonna extend this question to our viewers watching our show right now, because I want you guys to think about this. And if you feel comfortable, comment in the chat about who you wear your mask for the most. Where do you feel like you putting that mask on for the most? Who is that for? And if you feel comfortable, hit us with a why. So I honestly probably wear my mask the most for work. And I thought I would say it would be for the kids, but no, it's actually for work. Um, because what I do requires for me to have a certain level of for those of you who are not completely aware of what I do on a day to day, I am a community educator. So when your kids are in school learning about Aaron's Law or learning about child sexual abuse, I'm teaching them about that and keeping their bodies safe. And I also do healthy relationship groups at high schools. I co facilitate healthy relationship groups as well.
My
So,
my family nickname is Tommy because from Martin. Remember that one detail
you
about
ain't got no
Tommy?
job.
Tommy ain't got no job, but Tommy stay able to pay their bills. Shandala bohaya, hey God, thank you.
I can't stand you.
But in real life, I am a licensed professional counselor by trade, and I'm also a doctoral student at Chicago School of Professional Psychology, and I'm also a Reiki practitioner. So that's what Tommy does for a living when Tommy is working, because Tommy ain't got no job.
Right. But I wanted to ask that question because if you're like me, especially because I'm talking to kids all day, I'm talking to kids about something very heavy, and my style of presenting to them is to try to make the content as less hard to deal with, more digestible for them, because especially now that we're virtual everything, it's hard to keep kids in the conversation, but it's stuff that I need them to know. So I'm real lively with my presentations. I'm very bubbly. The kids love talking to me. But after I clock out, by the time I finish my last presentation of the day, I'd be like, oh, I'd be like, Lord, I'm just tired. I'm tired. The kids be wanting to talk, and then I'd be like, Mommy, just give me 10 minutes. Just give me 10 minutes of just complete silence. I'll launch up my Call of Duty mobile app so I can go on and blow off some steam. And then I just need to, readjust, because having to be that person for strangers, and these are for kids, is exasperating, because it's like no matter what it is that I'm going through, I have to pack that shit away. Now, it used to be a little bit easier for me because I have a rule where whatever happens outside my threshold or my door stays out there. Once I leave the office and I'm coming home, I don't bring work home, and vice versa. But now working home is the same place, so I don't have that separation no more. So it makes it even more complicated at times for me. I don't know if anybody else is feeling that. If you working from home, are you finding it a whole lot more difficult to find that work home separation because you're used to having all of that, outside instead of inside where your safe havens to be at? But I just use so much energy in just being respectful, because I've also been trying to be extremely professional at work, where there are times where I've wanted to flip over desk and go clean in, because there's been a lot of things being brought up at work about racial injustice stuff. And I just have a real problem with the way some people, some organizations, some companies, just people, period, deal with racial injustice stuff and expect for you to be the spokesperson for everything. And sometimes things just get said and you be like, now what the hell are they talking about? Like, what? You know what, Nor? And one of the things that bothered me the most at my last job that I worked at before I came on to this position was being in a room of non-black people, watching them discuss what's best for a bunch of black people.
I couldn't have been in that room because they'd have fired me on
and,
spot.
and having to be mute. And then when you would say something, having this thrown at you. I swear, sis, I was about one more time of hearing this from my executive director at this job before I was gonna be on the news. Y'all was gonna see Sante on the Channel 9 News. Woman that works in Park Ridge has been arrested today after turning over all the desks and breaking windows inside of the office building she works at. Because every time I would say, like, this is what these young ladies or these youths need, I would get hit with a, well, research says. Now, y'all know Sante, she don't normally use this word a whole lot when she's talking about other people, especially women in particular, but this bitch. Listen now. Ain't no research better than experience. Okay. I am black. I'm a black woman. And you can't tell me that this research that somebody done picked a handful of people out and wrote about it is going to be able to tell you better about somebody actually living that life. Like, I'm black, black. I'm blacker than black. I'm black, black, black. And I used to want to lose my whole mind at this office because, lady, no, just stop it. And you couldn't tell her nothing. And that was exhausting for me too, because then at one point it felt like I was being more of a detriment in this job than I was being a help, because you know I'm working for a place that's not trying to really, I felt like, do right by these people and they need it. So I found that being in the work environment and trying to walk that line of still being professional but being true to myself is probably where I spend the most of my energy at work, because I can be me with my kids. And even though I may not cry in front of them, for the most part, they know mommy. They know mommy strong, but mommy has gotten to the point too where I'm telling they ass the truth, where it's like, listen, mommy today is a human being, okay? And today I can't, like, today you don't want to push mommy's buttons and you don't want to try my patience, okay? Because I don't have much. So now I'm getting to that point where I'm expressing that to them, and they're like, okay, mommy, we gonna give you a minute. You finna go play Call of Duty? You gonna play Call of Duty? Like, you want some coffee? You want something? But I'm saying all that to say that's the place where I think I spend or wear my mask the most. And I see in the comments, I see at home, I see at work, I see as a mom job for Yo-Yo. Um,
I would say for me, it would mostly be at work, and I would like to think it isn't, but it is, because let's be clear, as a counselor, nobody gives a fuck
Zero.
what's going on in your real life, because it is your job to help people fix what's going on in theirs. Even though that's not a counselor's job, but that's a whole other story. Um, it's when you're a counselor, when you are a Reiki healer, nobody really nobody really assumes that you could really be going through some real life shit. They feel like, well, you're a Reiki healer, you can heal that out yourself. What people don't realize or know about me is I prefer other people to do Reiki on me, because I don't give a shit how good I can put my hands on somebody. I don't care how well I can see myself objectively, and I self critique every day. There's always something in my that a Reiki healer or my counselor can catch that I'm not, and that's just that. But I would have to put my mask on at work, because again, I could have had a death in the family. Nobody cares. I still need my bracelet.
Right.
That happened to me when my homegirl passed away. I couldn't mail shit out because I had the bracelet, because I had a death in the family. Oh, okay. The next day, well, did you mail up?
What did I just?
No one cares.
No, they don't.
You know what I mean? If you're a counselor, no one cares that you have survivor's guilt because one of your homies died from cancer, but you still got clients you need to see. No one cares about that.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about vicarious trauma and vicarious pain? Because I feel like that's super important to talk about that, because that's been part of my mask lately, as of late as well. Is I've really been affected by everything that's been going on in the world, everything I'm seeing. Even when I'm trying to tell myself let that shit go because there's nothing I can do about it, I'm would be lying if I said I'm still not affected by it, because I am. But I think that that's another thing that we wear the mask about all the time, is that, we are very much affected by all of this stuff that's going on in our world right now. And nobody talks about vicarious trauma. When I even bring up vicarious trauma, a lot of people be like, what is that? Like, I've never even heard, of that. And I didn't realize that that wasn't like a common understanding, that sometimes you can experience things vicariously through just being around somebody else. But I've had so much vicarious trauma between all the stuff around me, that I wear a mask about that too, because then I'm seeing everybody else's pain, and because I'm the strong one, I'm trying to be strong for everybody, and I wear the mask with that too well, and I don't be okay either. But I be feeling like I can't not be okay.
So for me, a lot of people don't know that, God rest his soul. My God, I hate to even have to say it, because he was so young. Chadwick Boseman's death was extremely traumatizing for me. And the reason why it was traumatizing for me, because there's this thing called survivor's guilt. For those of you all who are unaware what that is or what that means, survivor's guilt is when you survive a traumatic experience or a traumatic wound or a traumatic, life or death experience, and someone who love, care about, in close vicarious vicinity of you, they die from it. Them and several other people in succession of each other. I've had several people in my family and outside of my family die from cancer. And considering that, and I should probably go ahead and say this because it is the end of the month for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, 3 out of 4 women diagnosed with ovarian cancer die. 3 out of 4, which means I was lucky number 1 to live. But I need y'all to understand that my grandma didn't. I need y'all to understand that her baby sister, my great auntie Chris, didn't. I need you to understand one of my homies, Claude, didn't. I need y'all to understand that my homegirl, Erin Evans, didn't. I need y'all to understand that Erin's mom didn't. I need y'all to understand that Chadwick Boseman didn't. So y'all have to understand, everybody, when I say everybody around me who's had cancer has died. Everybody around me who's had cancer has died but me. So from a very ethereal standpoint, understand what that does for me as a spiritual human being. Like, okay, what the fuck is so special about me that I got to stay here, but you taking everybody else the fuck up out of here? That's triggering for me. And a lot of people will have the nerve to throw in my fucking face, well, be grateful that you're still here. You don't know. That's not what this is about. First of all, I never fucking said or implied that I wasn't. So can you please take that off the dinner table? It don't fucking belong there. Nobody ever said I wasn't grateful to be alive. What I am saying is, when it's everybody, when you went, like, it's like when you in a gang, right? You get out the gang. because you got shot in the head, which was supposed to kill you. But all the motherfuckers you in the game with is dead around you. You're gonna have survivor's guilt about it, like, damn, that should have been me. It might have been a couple of even shorties that didn't even deserve the bullets that they got. They was just in the way. Damn, that should have been me. When I tell you that shit is real, and for people to really tell me, will be grateful because you're alive, I really be wanting to tell them, yo, get the fuck out of my face. Because you don't get it.
You're not grateful.
Because you don't get it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm absolutely grateful to be alive, but you got to understand it's not cool to be alive and watch everybody die around you. If you've seen the Green Mile, you know what I'm talking about.
I have not had to feel it from that standpoint, but for those that don't know, within the last, I want to say 15 years, especially, I've had at least 2 deaths a year. At least in the last 15 years. At least 2 deaths around me, whether that was friends, family members, whatever. It's been every year I've had at least 2 deaths. So much so to the point now that I don't even process grief properly. And I know I don't process grief properly.
Same here.
Literally, I get like, I hear the news and then I'm numb. I'm completely numb. It takes me a very delayed amount of time before I even cry about it. I can't even cry in the moment because it's like an initial response for me to go numb. A lot of those people that I've lost in that time, I've lost to cancer as well. So I've literally watched some of the most important people that, people I love so much wither away from cancer. I've had a lot of unexpected goodbyes. Well, hell, I didn't even get to say goodbye. And so that's been difficult. I've watched people that I love deeply have those horrible just goodbyes. So now I'm watching their trauma, and I'm so, when I tell you the way I process grief now, I know it is unhealthy because I should not be, I'm stoic. Like I'm just that's literally all I can do. And it's very delayed. I still cry for my cousin. It'll be it just made no, it'll be 8 years next month.
I cried for my grandma a year to the day after she died. And it was the day after my 25th, 26th birthday, one of them birthdays. It was a year to the day. I didn't cry for her. Like her funeral, I don't even know where the fuck she buried at. Don't ask me. And you better ask Marie Taylor, because she'll tell you. Kawanda don't know. Yeah. But the day of her funeral, I didn't go to her wake. I didn't go to her burial. What I did was go home and kill a whole bottle of tobacco.
I have even, like, if I can not go to a funeral, which I have not, it hasn't been anybody that I haven't felt like I should be there for, that I haven't gone to one, but I don't let the kids go anymore. They don't go.
I go to a funeral if you paying me to sing, and even then I have to think about whether or not I want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the bottom line is, a lot of people don't realize that certain things trigger you and they need you to be there for them. People dying from cancer triggers me. And the last thing I want to hear is, well, be grateful that you're alive, because there are so many implications in that. There are so many inferences made by that. And that's almost like a backhanded compliment. Well, be grateful you're alive. Well, who the fuck told you? Again, who told you I wasn't? Well, God kept you here for a reason. Well, I'm glad. Well, thank you. I'm glad you know that. When you get a clue, when he want to tell me, can you tell him to tell me? Since you know every goddamn thing. What does that have to do with the fact that I still feel bad that my grandma ain't here no more, but I'm still here? I still miss her. Yeah. What does that have to do with my homegirl ain't here no more? The motherfucker, she was 37. We're the same fucking age. I will never see her again. The last time I talked to this girl was on her birthday. 3 weeks passed. I wonder why she ain't on Instagram, and I find out why, because our homegirl, Nene, dropped on Instagram that she died from breast cancer, which can metastasize into ovarian cancer, which is the very cancer that I had. I'm sorry. It's triggering to watch people around me have the same disease that almost killed me, kill them, and not me. Yeah, I'm grateful to be here. But if I tell you that I'm having a moment because this person died and like, damn, why am I still? I don't need you to tell me to be grateful for shit.
And it happens not just to you. It was a lot of that happening to like people that were in really major like tragedies, 9/11, things like that. People
Right, when
were
you
like,
still here.
"Were you
Okay,
still
but bitch,
here?"
I had to run down 37 motherfucking flights of stairs and see 15,000 motherfuckers die on the way down, and the motherfucker that came with me didn't make it either. That's still traumatizing. And I don't know, but I can only, I can imagine.
Girl, listen, they just had the kids came and asked me because they talk about that at school. And they came and asked me, like, where were you at when that happened? And I remember that day, and I was watching it from my television. Okay.
Yep,
I
I was
remember
down at
that day like
ISU.
it was
I
yesterday.
remember.
And just from watching it on my TV and just thinking like, this is unbelievable, and just really just can't believe what I'm seeing. So yeah, if that was my response from watching it on television, I can't even imagine what it was like to be there. I don't want to.
Or like when the shit went down with Columbine. And I know everybody on here know what happened with Columbine. I wish somebody would tell one of them babies who actually survived, well, be grateful that you survived. But how the fuck am I supposed to be grateful that I watched my homie get his whole face blown off by some motherfuckers who was salty because they got called weird? Like a week before we were supposed to go to prom. Like, come on, man. Like, you can't tell people stuff like that and thinking that's being there for them. You patronizing them, if anything.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I know that, because this is probably the least amount of people we've had in this room ever, because I know that this show, I knew it was not going to get a whole lot of people to come through, but I want to tell the people that are watching and whoever watches this post show that you're not by yourself. It's okay to say you're not okay. It's okay to take off the mask. If you can't take it off with everybody, find somebody you can take it off with. That's super important that you have that person to take off the mask with. You can't walk around with it on all the time. It's going to suffocate you. It's going to affect you. I am an advocate for therapy. Don't let nobody tell you that you don't need it. Everybody should be getting some therapy. More and more so, I'm seeing tons of trigger people walking around and traumatized people just on social media just in this past few weeks. So you absolutely need therapy, and it's okay to get some, and stop the Black community especially to stop thinking that that's a white people's thing, because it's not.
So how I feel about wearing masks is this: I have gotten to a point where I don't even feel it necessary to do so, um, because I can't teach people how to heal if I'm walking around wearing a mask over my scars. That's not gonna cut it. It's not gonna work. It's very inauthentic, and very contrary,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just not me. Um, I feel like under certain circumstances, well, I know that under certain circumstances that it's necessary for people to wear it, because sometimes in the moment you just can't break and cry. Just like you just can't. Um, what I will say is when you can, or when you can have a human moment, just have it and be okay with it. Because masks, no matter how light they are in the moment, they get heavy over time.
They sure do.
I don't care how used to your own arm weight you are. If you hold these shits up for a while, over time they get heavy, and eventually people have to put them down. Masks are the same way. Them shits could be paper, them shits could be Teflon. It don't matter. No matter how heavy they may be in presentation or light they are in presentation, the execution of actually having to wear them gets heavy and it wears over time. So eventually you're gonna have to put that shit down. because what's going to happen with you is you're going to be tired, and then you're going to get mad at other people for not picking up on that. When all you need to do is take your goddamn mask off, and people see you got 15 bags on your eyes, you ain't slept in 15 days, and you done lost weight, and they see your cheekbones down to your drawers because you ain't 8 and 7. Sometimes we got to take that mask off so people can actually know what the fuck is going on. That's probably me talking to me, because my 2 best friends have on many occasions said, bitch, we don't know none of your business, and you ain't told us shit in a month. What the fuck is going on with you?
Right.
Well, I start laughing for the motherfucking past 9 years. When I go on Facebook, if I ain't on there for longer than 2 days, she is on my phone and in my inbox like, skirt.
What you doing? Hey, you good? I guess because for me, I wish I pay attention to that. That's probably one of the only things where I say, like, you do want to kind of follow that golden rule with not necessarily with support in itself, but even just being like, I would want somebody to check on me. If like, that's how a lot of people be like in their apartment or something and be gone for days because people don't think to check on you, and you want to get in a habit of checking on your people. If this is your people, you want to check on your people, and it don't take much. I know a lot of people like to text message, send a text. Hey girl, you good? Hey dude, you straight? I mean, it really does need to become a habit. It needs to be good practice because you gonna want somebody to check on you. Like, I should be checked on sometimes. Like, in that, I ain't even gotta, like, because I'm just one of them people where I'm not gonna dump on you. So I ain't even gonna necessarily unload and be like, okay, you called me and now I'm finna let it all out and I'm finna dump all my pain, all my stress on you. I don't like to do that either, but just, hey girl, you good? Everything's okay? Yeah, I'm all right. When I really need to talk, I'm gonna talk. I'm going to, but
Right, and the people who know me know that. Like, my people who fuck with me know that my version of support is when I'm ready to talk, I will talk.
right.
I'm quiet, leave me the fuck alone. The only thing I really need you to do is, hey, you good? I'm good. Cool. When you ready to talk, I talk. Anybody who knows me knows they don't need to do nothing more than ask me if I'm okay.
Right.
If I say I ain't okay, I talk to you when we ready. You ain't got to say nothing else but we here. But the people who know me know that. The people who know me know when I get quiet, I am really, really, really going through some shit. So it is probably best to either check up on me or leave me the fuck alone until I come up out of that and let you know I'm fine.
One or the other. One or the other. Factual. Factual.
And to be fair, it is because I know me, and I know that when I get in my bag and I know I'm going through shit, I get really, really intense, and it get heavy for me. And I'm not gonna dump that on nobody else because I can barely handle my own shit. I be having to look at me and bitch, get it. Okay, the shit get no for real. Like, I'm just being honest, y'all.
I feel
Sometimes
you.
you get
I'm
sick of
with
your
you.
own shit.
I'm with you.
Sometimes your shit just stinks so bad and it's so heavy and it's just like, you don't want to put that off on nobody else. So it's best that you just sit in that, purge that out, get rid of that, and deal with it on your own. But the people who know you and know that's how you process, and people who fuck with you will deal with you accordingly. And the people who know me and fuck with me know that I don't like to put my shit off on them. So give me 3 days, give me 4, give me a minute. Check up on me, say hi. We just wanted, when you ready to talk, come holler at us. And they know when I'm ready to talk. We'll be on the phone for about 2 hours. So I tell you, I didn't tell, I'm good, but you know that, and I don't know, and that.
You always say that. You always be like, I'm good. And I'll be like, no, you ain't. No, you ain't. Okay, you right. I'm not. And and that's okay. But I agree with you because that's my process too. Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Let me sit in it. Let me be still. Like, I'm real big. The older I get, the more I'm like, okay, this is a time for me to be still, for me to process, me to listen, me to pay attention, me to analyze, me to pick apart, me to put together. Let me go through it. Let me
Period.
figure it out. That's it. I just need my space. That's it. That's all. So I want, before we close out, because this is a heavier episode, I want to end on this note about this topic in particular with, It is okay to absolutely not be okay. And get you a support circle that you can be not okay with, that you can take your mask off, because the stress is killing us. It's literally killing us, whether it's killing our spirit, whether it's killing us physically, it's injuring us. So we just gotta take the mask off. So let's do better. Let's be there for each other. I do believe in adjusting each other's crowns. Let's adjust each other's crowns and just be there, and do it without judgment. Like, I think that's a big reason why people wear masks too. Because if I tell you some real shit about what's going on in my life, I don't want your judgment. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear your judgment. I don't want to hear your comparison.
Well, here's my
Hear
thing.
that.
Well, here's my thing. I've gotten in a space where I've had to learn how to eat certain judgments as long as they still come with support on the back end.
That's not
You
a
can call,
judgment. That's
right.
constructive criticism.
But you know, some people in the moment when they're in their bag, they're not gonna hear it as constructive criticism. They
That's
gonna hear
true.
a judgment. Even if they do get the now, baby, I still love you. But bitch, why the fuck did you?
You and this popping the camera. I can't.
I would rather somebody tell me, bitch, what the fuck was you doing? And then when I explain it and you cuss me out after that, and I
Right.
know I'm wrong, and you hug up on me and love up on me. I'd rather that happen
I
than
agree.
than for it to be just a constant bitch, what the fuck? No, I didn't come to you for that. I know I fucked up. Tell me one time and then, all right, we gonna fix this. Don't worry about it. I don't need you to slap me in my face with my mistakes, bro. I really don't. Even though some people might need to be slapped in their face with it, so they might not need that in the moment. And if you're gonna give it to them in the moment, don't don't knock a motherfucker down without extending a hand and pick them back up. If you're gonna tear their ass down, pick them back up and give them a hug and tell them I love you. Yeah, you fucked up, but I still love you.
Exactly. Exactly. I
That's how
agree.
you can support somebody, even if they wrong, even if you know they fucked up, even if they know they fucked up. If you want to tear them down, be able to lift their ass right up the same damn way.
I agree. I agree 100% with that. So we gonna leave it on that note. To our few handful of viewers that's stuck with us on this one, and I get
But
it.
they faithful shit. They in
They
here. They
faithful,
comment,
but
honey.
it is a hard
I see a
topic,
bunch of amens. They like
and,
Paula.
but I felt like we needed to address it because it's a real issue, and I want us to like stop doing that. And that was just on my heart in that moment. But I get it that a lot of people still ain't ready to take off that mask, and I get it. But I'm hoping that in letting others know that I wear the mask too, and I've worn the mask before, that people will be like, okay, you know what? I can say that I do it too. And more will be aware. We'll start letting that shit out and letting that guard down. So I hope that that helps. I hope you guys come back next week. I think I'm between two topics, sis, that we're gonna have to like figure out. I kind of want to have this conversation about repairing relationships, because I've been finding that to be a real thing too, on what relationships are repair worthy versus what relationships are not.
First of all, we just had this conversation this afternoon that was only supposed to be 30 minutes long. So
That's true. That's true. So maybe we just need to stick with that. But then also, I am planning on having a show. So I'm going to put this out there now, because I really want to have these conversations with, y'all out there, because I feel like it's super important for us to have these conversations with one another and to kind of get an understanding. Like, if Sante, she wants to understand. And so I like to talk to people because I'm all about perspective and looking beyond my own perspective. So I do want to do a show where we're talking about adultism. I know that Kawana really wants to have this show.
because that's my whole motherfucking life story. Goddamn it, between ages of the womb and 15.
And
Shit.
I think it is an important conversation, because I'm finding a lot more in society that kids are feeling like, we felt kind of like our parents was old and didn't know what was going on and didn't get it. But I feel like even with us being like a younger generation of parents, that we're still running into that, and it's actually worse than what I can recall it being from when I was younger, and just really feeling like, you can't connect to your parents. So I really want to talk about adultism and how the parent aspects, how sometimes we kind of break that communication down or those walls down with our own kids, because we're pretty much making them feel like because they're a kid they don't got no feelings, or they can't think for themselves,
Yeah, we
or
definitely will. Yep, yeah, we gonna talk about that. Cause I mean, and it's ironic that you even mentioned that because my brother and I were talking about that last night, and that
Mhm.
conversation got real deep.
Yeah, and because it's so many
Real,
of us that,
real deep.
I
Like, and he was
mean,
talking about how it translated and how he's parenting now. And I was just like, yo, first of all, it was amazing to just hear him. And I know this is probably a prelude to the conversation next week.
that's
But
okay.
it was my baby brother will always be my baby brother. I don't give a fuck how
Mhm,
old he is. I don't care how many grades he got in his face. And he got a whole bunch. He will always be my baby brother. So
mhm.
it is amazing to watch him make this transition from baby brother to baby brother husband. But just listening to a lot of how our traumas have manifested in his parenting and
Mm,
manifested in his communication because of how we were raised. And again, listen, if my parents are watching, this ain't shots, this ain't stabs, this is just me being honest about our experiences
no.
growing up. A lot of things that he does now as a parent are based on the adultism that we experienced as children. A lot of the ways that I am very feminine in certain ways, but masculine leading in a lot of ways is because of the adultism that I experienced as a child, having to help
Absolutely.
raise my baby brother. Yeah,
that
shit gets
that
deep.
that alone has affected my parenting more than anything, and I'm grateful that I am one of those parents in that state of awakening about that, because it has made all the difference with my children. My kids ain't perfect. I by all means ain't saying that as kids they don't try to get away with stuff. I mean, they're going to try. But when it comes to really, really, really important things, I am so grateful that they feel that they can come and talk to me, that they're going
Yep.
to give me the opportunity to support them and to help them before they try to figure it out on their own. And it's all because I had my awakening. And that is why I even wanted to start having these conversations and doing, oh, we gonna talk, because for me, it was just like a light bulb. It was just like, damn, okay, I gotta heal some of this shit. Like, this is me. And if I don't fix it, this is gonna go on and
Yeah.
on and on. And
Yeah.
just because, and I say it all the time, that just because you are a successful adult, just because you've made it far in life, just because you're able to still have friends or even get in some relationships, it does not mean that you are healthy.
My
You
traumas been
are a
slapping me in my
functioning
face.
adult.
My traumas have been slapping me in my face since 2009. What are you
Trying to tell you. And if and
what are
for
you talking
and
about?
if you become a parent and you don't recognize that those your trauma smacking you in the face, you're gonna smack your kids in the face with it.
Which one I ain't got now. Thank you. And that's no shade to anybody who had children, but I just made very intentional choices not to have
Mhm.
them because I knew that whatever I'm going through right, I ain't passing this down to my children. I need to fish this all out right now.
Me, me, me. Me,
I
call on me.
refuse.
I got something to say.
Ain't nothing coming through this cooch
Wait, wait, wait.
until the rest of this come through my soul. I ain't gonna be able to do it.
Wait a minute. Can I say something? Wait a minute. I'm raising my hand. Me, me, me. Call on me.
Okay. Okay. Go
Say
ahead.
me.
Me.
So I was being very intentional too, and I got two kids. That's all. That's all I want to say.
I'm
That's
sorry.
all I had to say. I
Sorry.
don't know if that have anything to do with you or not. I'm just saying that I was being very intentional to not be unintentionally, but I got two kids.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry, but I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, be careful, cause when your body want to do some things, don't do some things.
Well, they ain't did it yet, so hallelujah.
That don't mean that it won't now.
We ain't gonna put that in the air. It ain't did
Okay,
it
I'm
yet.
sorry.
Hallelujah.
I'm
We gonna
sorry.
catch that and bring that back. She ain't mean it.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. My bad. I got it. I'm supposed to.
Wedding first. Thank you. Put that in there.
We love y'all. Thank y'all for joining us. And we hope that you guys will join us again next week. And well, we'll probably be talking about what the relationships are that's worth repairing versus the ones that they're not worth repairing, because
Baby,
that
there's
is
a whole
super
bunch of
important.
motherfuckers. Oh God, oh God. If it was up to me to get into heaven and I had to forget these motherfuckers, I'd be burning in hell right now. I'm trying to told you. If I had to still be friends with some of these folk, ooh, God would be mad at my ragged ass.
Oh no. I feel it. I feel
It's
it
gonna be no
100%.
good, honey. I'd be at heaven. He'd be looking at me like, bitch, why you playing with me?
Oh my goodness.
Why are
I
you
feel
playing?
it. I feel it. Our business of the week is reflections for you. My girl Ebony Bryant. She sells jewelry. It's $5. All you need is $5. That's it, honey. You don't need a bunch. So check her out on Facebook. And if you want your business to be our feature business of the week, please give us a shout out or contact us, messenger on the page, personal pages, if you have access, because everybody ain't got access to them personal pages, child.
Show
But if
no.
you do, you can absolutely send us your business information, just a brief description, and we want to share. And we hope y'all come back next week if you are interested in being on our show. Also, contact us as well, because we want y'all to be on this show. Y'all don't be
Right.
scared. Come
We
on.
don't mind it just being us, but we also find it pertinent to hear other people's perspectives because yes, these are two very similar but sometimes very differing perspectives, but there's also third perspectives, fourth perspectives, fifth perspectives that may not match any of ours at all. And we're interested in all of them. We don't always want to be up here being the talking heads, literally or figuratively. We don't mind because it's our show, but we don't want you all to feel like you can't get on here and say, well, I don't know if I agree, or I do agree, and let me tell you why, or thank you God for saying that because I thought I was crazy. God damn it, let me thank you for letting me know I'm not.
Facts. So don't be scared. Pretty much, just come on. So if you want to talk about some
I don't know what happened, but she froze.
between what relationships are worth salvaging versus the relationships that we should, and we need to figure that out, because some relationships don't serve us, don't mean nothing for us. So we definitely need to figure it out. So if you're interested in having that conversation with us, please reach out to us, and we hope we will see you guys next week. I'm
Deuces.
gonna go eat some tacos and maybe have a shot of tequila.
I'm finna drink the rest of this wine.
Is it 99-cent wine, girl? Did you get the 99-cent
I
wine?
didn't because I'm not finna fight you hoes over no wine when it's doing this.
Oh,
It's really
I,
not that
I
deep.
didn't have to fight though. I didn't have to
No, I've no the horror stories out here on Stony Island and on 20 on in the South Loop and wherever
Girl,
there's
you
stuff
better
at.
come out here to the burbs. What is you doing? You
I
get
didn't want to be out there when I lived there. Fuck you mean? I'm not finna come out there to visit on accident on purpose.
girl, let me tell you, they
That's why
had
my mama ain't
cases.
seen me.
When I went, they had cases and cases of that 99-cent wine, okay?
Oh, okay. Well,
So
that makes
I
sense.
ain't had no business getting that cheap wine, but I'm gonna make me some cheap sangria with it.
And they only limited us to 6 out here. They was like, nope, you hoes is not finna get on. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To
6
the
of them, and my partner's a whole goddamn
burbs.
bartender. I'm not
You
worried about no 99-cent wine.
I got you. You can get 12 bottles, and they was giving out rain checks when they ran out, honey.
No, they said 6 because you niggas is being niggas and y'all ain't finna beat us up over no dollar motherfucking wine.
Then they gonna put them in them baskets they be selling. They gonna be selling the baskets for $50.
Niggas go nig, and that's why y'all only getting 6 a piece at a time. Bye, y'all.
Good night, y'all.